So if you've been around the Linux community for any amount of time, you've probably seen the memeification of certain things. Now, I don't know if memeification is actually a word, but we're going to pretend that it is, and just define it as the creation of a meme. And I'm not talking about the like an actual like meme image, but I mean like something is used so much it's become a meme. And one of the things that we've talked about for ages on this channel and many others is the memeification of Arch Linux. Like, I use Arch Linux, by the way. So many people use Arch Linux and are so proud of it, it has become a meme. And it has been for quite some time. Arch isn't the only meme in the Linux community. There's NixOS, of course, and there's Rust as a programming language. So there is this tendency in the Linux community, or more specifically the open source community, that when something becomes super popular, it becomes memeified. And it's an interesting phenomenon to kind of study because there's nothing inherently wrong with Arch Linux. In fact, it's a very good distribution. There's nothing inherently wrong with NixOS. It's a pretty good not-so distribution. There's nothing wrong with Rust as far as I know. I'm not a developer, so I can't tell you what's good and bad about Rust, but from the people I've talked to who do know Rust, it's a very good programming language with a lot of features. It's basically what people have told me, it's like C, but better. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never coded a word in Rust, so I have no clue, but people seem to like it and like to take things that were written in older languages and rewrite them in Rust. So much so that when that happens, people look at those programs kind of askance, saying like, you did that just because Rust is a meme or because it's popular or whatever. And that's kind of the phenomenon I want to talk about today, is because it's not so much that people use these things and make them popular. It's the people who are outside of that experience looking at the others like they're only using it for a certain reason. So let's talk specifically about Arch Linux just for a minute, because that's the most popular one and the one that's been kind of memeified for the longest. If you use Arch Linux and are somehow proud of using Arch Linux, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you tell people that you use Arch Linux, people are going to think that you're part of the meme. It's a meme distro. And they're going to, or at least a lot of people are going to look down on you because you use a distro that is popular, or because you're using it only because of the memeification of said distro. Same thing with NixOS, same thing with Rust. If you use that thing, you're going to have some people on the outside look at you oddly, or express disdain for you because you went the easy way or the popular way. It's such a very weird thing to think, because the people who are like that don't know, or at least usually don't know anything about what they're being so disdainful about. They've never used Arch Linux, so probably, or they have no grand experience with Arch Linux, but they still judge the people who use it. Or same thing with NixOS. Maybe they've never used NixOS, but they see everybody else using NixOS, so therefore it must be because it's a meme, or because it's, everybody's using it just to follow the herd, right? Same thing with Rust. Everybody's who does that obviously is just using it because Rust is popular, not because Rust is actually any good. And it's such a weird way to look at things, and yet it happens over and over and over again. It's this idea that the popular thing, the defaults or the standards, are bad. It's the same kind of thing with systemd, only there's no systemd fanboys out there, right? There's no one say, I use systemd, by the way, you know what I mean? But the people who disdain systemd and use things like Runit or System 5 or whatever it happens to be, they are also still looking at the popular thing and thinking, well, you're using it because it's popular. And obviously they have other arguments against systemd in particular, but the idea there is the same. It's just that we don't have systemd fanboys. And there are other examples of this as well, things like Wayland and Pipewire and things like that. Basically anything that has become a standard or a default or very, very popular is oftentimes by a small but vocal group of people in the Fox community as being bad simply because it's standard or default or popular. And it's a symptom of having so many choices, I believe, because you can have a lot of choices with open source, people can flock to things that are more off the beaten path. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people use Linux, is because it's not Windows or Mac because it's not popular like everything else. And if you ask those people if Linux were to go mainstream, if they continue to use Linux, they'd say no. They'd go to BSD or something like that. And if BSD then got popular, they'd move on to Unix or something. I don't even know where they'd go. But a lot of people are like that. They don't want to use the thing that everybody else uses, so they'll go forth and use the thing that is less used by others. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that outlook on life and that outlook on the tools that you use. But when it makes projects look like they're only used because they're popular, it makes the new people who come into the community look at those things askance as well. So if you're brand new to Linux, but you've heard about this whole Rust thing and the controversies about including it in the kernel and everybody rewriting it and everything, you're probably looking at like, oh, well, why are they doing this if Rust is so maligned? When in reality, the reason why it is because so many people don't like it because it's popular. I'm sure that there are some technical reasons why some people don't like Rust. That's absolutely, I'm sure, the case. And I'm also sure that those reasons are legitimate, at least to them. But there's also a lot of people who don't like Rust, who aren't programmers or whatever, that just don't like it because it's popular and everybody's using it and whatever. It's become a meme. They don't like it because of the memeification of said thing. And that can bleed over into new users, new people who are having a new experience in the open source world. And that can put a further dent in the reputation of projects that are otherwise very, very good and do good things for the open source and Linux communities. So I think that it's simultaneously not harmful, but also can be harmful if it goes too far. And I think that the idea here is that if you're going to look down on something, you should at least try it before you do so. And have actual legitimate reasons for disliking something beyond just, it's popular, therefore I shouldn't like it. And I think that that's a good way of looking at things. If you try something and don't like it, that's completely different than not trying it and still not liking it because of ephemeral reasons. So just a little bit of a ramble for you guys today. If you have thoughts on this, you can leave those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. You can follow me on Mastodon or Odyssey. Those links will be in the video description. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/thelinuxcast. There you'll find a weekly exclusive podcast that I put out for all of my supporters. Basically, it's just me sitting in front of this microphone for about 15 minutes talking about random topics. If that's something that you're interested in, again, patreon.com/linuxcast, or you can hit the subscribe button down there on the YouTube thing. I really wish they'd change that back to join because using subscribe is just the wrong word. But I will continue to berate YouTube in my private time and just do it as best I can. So anyways, thanks to everybody who does support me on Patreon and YouTube. You guys are all absolutely amazing. Without you, the channel just would not be anywhere near where it is right now. So thank you so very much for your support. Oh, if you want to go ahead and get a hat, you can do that from shop.thelinuxcast.org as well. I forgot to mention that. So you can only be a Linux nerd if you have a Linux nerd hat. That's just the rules. I didn't actually make the rules. It's in the rule book. So you want to be a Linux nerd, you have to have a nerd hat. And if you don't like hats, I'm pretty sure that there's a shirt over there that says Linux nerd on it too. So you can get the Linux nerd shirt and also be a Linux nerd. So there you go. Shop.thelinuxcast.org. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.